So we're back. We're going to be talking about penises.
Oh, man.
Again.
We're going to be talking about dicks? Fuck. Don't send me those dick pics anymore.
Yeah, well, that is one of those things that is being talked about. Is like, okay, with everything that's going on with Hollywood and all the accusations of rape and harassment and sexual assault.
Can we just time out here for a sec before we get too far down the rabbit hole of this conversation?
Yep.
I just would like to be clear to everybody out here, okay? We're talking about the current situations of the sexual harassment cases that are like in Hollywood, those ones that are being where it's the power over. We're not talking about molestation of children. We're not talking about that kind of thing of rape of children. Anything that involves a minor, okay, is bad, very very bad. We're talking about the. We're not going to throw a blanket over. Well, I'm not going to throw a blanket over sexual harassment because I don't think you can do that. I think you need to look at each case individually.
That is one of the things. Is it is a case-by-case reference. Now, what's been going on is there's been a lot of Twitter talk back and forth. There's been a lot of think pieces by various authors, both male and female. We've had Variety, Chatelaine, GQ, New York Times, CBC.
Everybody's weighed in. So last week we kind of talked a little bit about just it in general. Now we're going to kind of dive into a couple of articles that we read about the sexual harassment and stuff like that, and how, in my view, they're in a sense, some of them are painting all men with that broad brushstroke of that we're all a bunch of sexual deviants.
Yeah. Now,
who need to be taught.
Now, what was really interesting was CBC did an opinion piece on this, and I was reading the article, and it was in defense of men. You know, it was like men don't need to be downtrodden themselves. They don't need to throw themselves and be whipped mercilessly.
We don't have to fall on the sword because we see something happening, and it's like...
Yeah, and here was a weird thing. The article was by a woman, and I was like, what?
There was what? There was one in GQ. There was a few out there. The one that I remember was GQ that said, in a sense, we're going to teach men how to be good. We're going to teach men, and a lot of the stuff it made sense. Like, don't send an unsolicited dick pic, which
I've never understood. Is like, why would you?
Why would you just random dick pic to some random person? Apparently, that's a thing. I guess
it is, and it's like, why?
Yeah, why would you do that? And no means no.
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah,
we were taught that a long time.
I was taught that as growing up as a kid. No means no. When somebody says no to you, it means no.
Yeah, in all situations, not just male, female. It was in any kind of situation. Somebody says no,
exactly,
means no. It doesn't mean maybe. It doesn't mean yes, but you got to try harder. No means no, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah,
at least as far as we were concerned. It's like so. So reading these articles, you know, obviously some of them were by angry women against men, and considering everything that's been going on, it's like
it's warranted. Yeah, there's some creepy people out there. There's creepy men, creepy women. There's just creeps everywhere.
Yeah, and okay, so one of the things they're saying is, one, no dick pics. Okay, believe a woman when she says something. Right?
You should believe anybody. When anybody comes to you and says, "I've been sexually abused, assaulted, raped," you should 100% believe. But at the same time, you have to do your due diligence. You have to get the story. You have to understand. You have to, because again, you can't just be like, "Oh, you were sexually assaulted." Okay, done. Person guilty by
lynch mob.
Yeah, lynch mob. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Well, we do have a court system in place for a reason. Now, unfortunately, a lot of sexual assault cases just get tossed because, you know, it's a he said, she said type incidents, and it's really, really hard to take those to trial. So I really do understand why women don't come forward a lot more often, because it's to them it's pointless, and they don't want to keep reliving the trauma that they've had to go through the first time. So you believe people, right? When they come up to you, they say that I have this problem. Now, there are many different avenues in which you're supposed to follow afterwards, and I don't think men generally know what to do.
No, because I think, like, if from a male perspective, it's like if a woman comes onto you, you're like, okay, and if you're in a position where you're able to take advantage of it, you just go, all right, I'm going to go with this. Men we're more slutty than we're whatever. We just
When people say that men think with one head or the other, it's
it's
based
true.
off of a stereotype that's observed observations of how men actually behave. So it's like, if we're thinking with the penis head, guess what? We're thinking with the penis head in this, how we think.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much that's how men think. So, I think it is very difficult because I don't understand why it's just, if somebody's coming on to you, advancing towards you, you just say, no, leave me alone. And I don't understand how people who are told, no, leave me alone, don't just leave you alone. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't compute in my brain how that just doesn't work. It's,
Yeah, it's one of those, it does come down to a culture in a way, because one, we're teaching our children, right? So, one of those things you got to do is when they're young is teach them the value of consent, right? Consent is a joke nowadays, but it's become so muddied. I think
just record them on your phone and be like, do you consent me to have sex with you? And just record it. Yes. Okay. Now we're getting, like, it almost comes to that. I'm not trying to make a joke of it, but
and as much as it sounds like it's a joke, it's not. It's almost to that point where you need to go, I blah 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 of sound and mind and body do agree to.
Like how many people in their lives have had this drunken hookup and then the next day you wake up and kind of go, I don't remember 100% of what happened. So somebody could just cry rape at that time, and then that's what it is. And
but don't forget, a lot of what's going on right now is abuse of power.
Yeah,
right.
So you got to be stupid to think it hasn't been happening for decades.
Oh, it's true.
It happens in every line of work.
In Hollywood, it is well documented that a lot of the leading ladies from the 1920s and on, like probably even before that, were put into morality clauses, and these morality clauses stated that when you can get pregnant, you can be seen with men outside of the studio. You had to maintain a certain weight and figure. It's not expected out of actresses.
Things you couldn't do nowadays.
Yeah, it's not expected out of actresses nowadays, but it is.
But if you enter,
it is an unwritten rule that these women have to stay.
If you enter into a private contract, if I come to you and say I want you in my movie, but you have to go XYZ, and you're like, okay, and you agree to that, sign that contract, that's you can't come back to me in 10 years and be like, you violated my rights. Well, no, you signed a contract stating that you were okay with it at the time.
Yeah.
And this is my biggest problem now, is this. Do I believe that these harassments and assaults happen? Probably, yeah, 100%. Of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did. Let's not be stupid. Of course they did.
Yeah.
But my thing is this. Why did we wait so long? Like, a lot of people now have successful careers. They're set up. They're in a sense, they're on their white throne.
Mm-hmm.
Their porcelain throne. Very well off. They've all had good careers. They've all made money for themselves.
Okay, but that's why it took so long. Is one, they needed to be set up. Is because one, people weren't going to believe them, and then they would have shot themselves in the foot and no longer have a career.
And that's the thing that bothers me, is that you in a sense are sitting on your high throne,
mm-hmm.
and you want other people to throw their careers away so that this doesn't happen.
Oh.
But you weren't willing to do it at the time that you needed to get ahead, and you needed to not leave your car, put food on your...
It is right now. It's at that boiling point where everybody's... It's easier to come out because, one, all the bigger names,
mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of well-known female celebrities that have come forward and said, yes, this has happened.
But
yes,
would they have been willing to do it 5 years ago, because when they weren't...
And that time ago, there was nobody would have believed them. Their careers would have been dead.
And that's society's problem, is that we don't necessarily... And it's because it's been ruined, it's the boy who cried wolves. We've had people come out and be like, you sexually assaulted me, and it's been proven wrong. So it's like, well, now we're just always going to be, okay, what, is this true? Like, and it sucks. But I sit here and I go, okay, well, you've already made your millions of dollars. you're rich beyond whatever your mind is, and now you want to make it okay. Okay. So you want other people to throw their careers away.
Yeah, okay, you're totally going to get a lot of hate for that one.
Oh, but absolutely.
No, and it, yes, I see the point, but I don't have a good answer for that. It's like really,
I'm not sitting here going, you're bad for doing this. I mean, I just want to ask you. I want to know why. I want somebody to tell me, why are you coming out when you've already sitting on your pile of money? Why are you coming out now and asking other people?
Okay, okay. Devil's advocate right here is that they're coming out right now is because one person had the strength to come forward and do it, and now they're trying to make sure it doesn't continue to happen. Right, so that is,
but this is big public. This is big news now, but it's going to go away and it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening because, unfortunately, men in power think that they
are owed.
Yeah, they think for some reason that, oh, you're coming to me, you're lesser of a human.
Now, okay, because of some of the people that are being crucified right now, a lot more up and coming men are going to understand that there are consequences.
I hope so.
It will hopefully become not in the majority, but in the minority. Yeah. So this, I'm glad this is happening. You know,
absolutely.
Honestly, this is not. When people are like talking in the water cooler, saying, "Oh, well, this is a shock." I'm like, I look at them and go,
"No, it's not.
You're shocked by this?
You're shocked?
Really?
Really?"
And then I just think to myself, it's like, okay, how screwed up is my thinking?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think
that I'm not shocked.
Them.
Yeah.
Because it's
this is utter shock that this. What? No, it's not. Are you serious? You don't think that? You don't honestly. Let's not be naive here.
I'm sorry, but
when you got creepy old man Weinstein looking like he does, having all these hot girls come through his office, you don't think he's honestly taken an opportunity and been like, "Hey, touch my diddle."
And okay, and there was two other points we'll try to get to. Is that two other things they said was for men have to change. Men have to be part of the solution, and we as men have to, help out. And one of the things they said was, confront other men when they do stuff that's sexist, and it's just like, no.
You know what I can control? You know one thing I can control?
Me.
And that's myself. I can't tell you not to go grab that woman's ass. I can go, that's probably not the best thing to do. That's about it.
Yeah,
if you choose to listen to me, then that's up to you.
It's one of those things of, okay, if you tell somebody not to do it, they're going to do it. Right? So, I'm sorry, this is just male thinking is like, if you have a bunch of men together and, they're catcalling a woman, and all of a sudden one guy says, oh, we probably shouldn't do that. Guess what they're going to do is, one, they're going to catcall even worse.
Yeah.
And then two, he's going to be rejected chastised from his little group, and he's going to be expelled, and you know what? He's no longer going to have any influence. The best thing that he could do is not catcall.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And at some point in time...
Don't just go along with your friends because they're doing it. Just, you know what?
Don't.
Just don't do it. And
you don't have to poke them and say, don't do that. Just don't do it. And then after a while, one guy will go, hey, notice you don't go catcall. And it's like, well, because it's
not my thing.
Nice
it doesn't do anything. Like, right? I'm not,
and then the other guy will go, huh.
Yeah.
Okay, and then congratulations, you have two people in your little group not catcalling,
and eventually, and hopefully, and that's the mentality I think you have to take. That's actually really good. That's really good. That's really good. Like that's a good way to think about it, because if you
lead by example.
Yeah, if you try to blow it up, you're just going to cause a huge commotion. But if you try just to lead by example, yes, absolutely, and that's what I can do. Is I can lead by example. Have I probably done stuff in my past that probably wasn't the best? Probably. But a lot of men probably have. So some women too, probably. And it's like, but I know better now, and I'm going to teach my kids. I have a son and a daughter. I'm going to teach my son to respect women, and I'm going to teach my daughter to respect men. and I'm going to teach them both to demand respect from other people. But in doing that, to get respect from other people, you have to treat other people with respect.
Yeah.
So saying please, thank you, yes, no, looking people in the eye when you talk to them, you know.
I did that to a guy once, like one of the guys that I work with. You know, he's talking at me, and I'm actually looking at him in the eyeball. After like a couple of minutes, he's like, "Why are you looking at me?" I'm like,
"Because you're talking to me." Yeah.
It's like, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you're supposed to look somebody in the eye when you talk to them, and it's just flabbergasting. Like, how
I think sometimes when you take like the view that I have and the questions that I have, I'm not sitting here like victim blaming. I'm not sitting here going, "You're wrong. You're bad for what you're doing." I just want to know answers because I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I want the knowledge, and I want to be educated so I understand why you're choosing to come now.
Don't get me wrong. I have the same questions, but because I read a lot of this stuff, and one of those things is you're not supposed to do everything he just did about that whole victim blaming.
You're not supposed to ask those questions.
You're not supposed to ask those questions, and it's just like
that's one thing you'll notice. I'm not scared to ask the weird questions.
Yeah, and
the questions that are probably on a lot of people's minds.
Yes,
but they're scared to ask. So
yeah,
I'm going to ask.
Good on them all for coming out.
Absolutely.
We need to see people's lives ruined. This is what's going to happen. This is what is happening. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad these some of these men are being crucified.
If they're monsters, then they need to be outed as monsters.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree. And I'm so glad that Harvey Weinstein is being... he's a leper now. Hopefully
Kevin Spacey
he's
and
gone.
CK, what's his name? CK Lewis.
Now, that one's a little harder. He has fully admitted.
Yeah, he has admitted, but he's still a bad person for doing it.
Yeah.
Just because you said, "Oh, I killed somebody," it doesn't make you a good person. You're still a murderer.
That's very true. No, but as I said, these people are being crucified, and great. This is kind of what some men nowadays need an example of. It's like, hey, there are consequences for these bad actions. Maybe I shouldn't be doing some of these stupid things.
I know, it's so weird to hear that though. That some men out there or people sit there and think that kind of stuff is right. And there's no consequences because of who you are. And it's like, well, you're still a human being, and you're still unfortunate, and it just comes to the society, how we look at and view classes and view people higher than other people. And it's like, until we stop doing that, it's always going to be like that.
So as my brother likes to say, change starts with you.
That's right.
And the only one you can change is you. Mm-hmm. So do it. You're the instrument of your own change. He says this all the time, and I agree most of the time. Not all the time.
We're not perfect, and don't beat yourself up for making a mistake. It's like if you're, doing anything. If you screw up, if you're quitting drinking and you fall off the wagon, it happens. You know what?
Dust yourself
off, get back up, keep doing it. And all you can do is be that person and just be the best you can be. And if you and surround yourself with people who are in the same mindset as you, who want to be better and who continually want to know and be educated and want to be better. Like I said, with the questions I've asked, it's because I want to know, and I want to hear from people who have those answers, so I can be educated and I can be better informed, and I can go, okay, you know what? Absolutely, that opinion is correct. I understand that opinion now.
Yeah, I understand how you got to that reasoning, so I can go, okay, that makes a lot more sense instead of just, oh, this is the way it is.
Because I'll be better. Yeah, I know. I hate that.
No.
Do it because it's this way.
I'm sorry, as a child, that was not an acceptable answer. As an adult, it's even less acceptable because you're supposed to have intelligence when you answer a question.
How and why, baby. How and why. Here's how it's done, and this is why it's done this way.
Yes.
I'll still probably try it the other way, just so I can see that it didn't work.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're all guilty of doing something stupid, and that's the reason why. Because it's like,
that's right.
Oh, really?
Don't push that button. Oh, that's why. Whoops.
Okay, I won't do that again.
But yeah, we don't want to make light of the whole sexual harassment because it's not a joking matter. We just want to ask questions, and we just want to We just want to enlighten ourselves, and we hopefully we can enlighten you guys to ask the hard questions and not to be scared. If anything's ever happened to you, just tell somebody. Find somebody that you can confide in, and tell them and get it out there. Don't be scared, because you know what, the world is going to be behind you.
For that matter, there's the internet, and you can find plenty of help on the internet. There are plenty of groups, hotlines, chat rooms that you can.
You're always going to have people who are haters and tell you that you're wrong, all over the place. But you're going to focus on the people who are going to stand behind you and support you.
Indeed.
So, guys, take care.
See ya.